There's a term that we use when somebody has been alienated, villainized by a family member, a friend, somebody they were dating. We call that painted black. And in today's video, I want to explain what it means to be painted black, how to know if you have been painted black, and what the options are of getting out of that, or are you going to be painted black forever? Let's discuss this today. Welcome back, friends. Berges here today, and today I want to talk about being painted black. And being painted black is a very challenging place to be at, because many of us, when we are painted black, don't even know that we've been painted black. We just know that things have abruptly changed. We know that the person that was once a good friend of ours is no longer speaking to us, or if they do, it's a totally different style of speaking. If it's a family member that we were close to, all of a sudden they're not talking to us, they're not speaking to us, they're not responding to us. Perhaps we're the center of gossip by somebody, and this gossip is very negative in nature, talking about us in a derogatory way. Maybe somebody is spreading rumors about you in a very derogatory way, trying to get other people to believe things about you that may or may not even be possible or exist. And what I've seen that is that when we're dealing with somebody that has painted us black, we're dealing with somebody that has literally switched overnight and decided that we are no longer worthy of their love, their friendship, the connection, whatever that looks like. And it's interesting because this can waver, but initially, the first time that you're painted black can be very abrupt. So when you're painted black, the thing about being painted black is it's nothing that you've really done. Okay, now I need you to think about this real quick. So it's not like you've gone out and done this horrible thing. It's them creating a narrative in their own head about what you've done. And a lot of times that's all created. And it's fictitious, it's not real, and so that's why you don't really understand. It's not like you went out and did something horrible and then you're wondering why somebody's treating you badly. It's literally you're doing the same thing day after day, and what's happened is their narrative has changed, they're putting it on you, and now you are now painted black because of something that they believe that you've done, they think that you've done, they believe in their imagination that you've done, they paint you black. And so that's why it's so hard to understand, because it's not what you've actually done, it's actually what they think you may have done. And then they paint you based on that. And remember, the pedestal phase is not necessarily what you've done either. It's not, I mean, we're all good, we try to be the best people we can be, but we're not these perfect angels, right? So when we're on the pedestal too, we're envisioned as this perfect angel that can do no wrong. So again, remember, the pedestal phase is based on a narrative in their mind. Being painted black is also a narrative that they create about us in their mind. You see how they connect? And if you know what I'm talking about, if you kind of go into the recesses and thoughts of your brain of maybe some situations that have taken place when there is a lot of gossip, when there's like literally complete alienation. And the other thing about being painted black is that you can do no right. You can't do anything right. And that's the whole concept of being painted black, is that you've become this person that's this horrible person that has all these bad traits, that can't do anything right, that doesn't care about anybody. And so everything about you possibly that can be negative at all is thrown out there for everybody to see. It's like it's on that proverbial billboard, and then they share it with everyone. A good example that I've had, I was talking to a client the other day, and I thought this was very interesting, is they were in a meeting at work, and one of the people that they work with started talking about another coworker, and they were talking very, 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 very negatively about this coworker, bringing up personal stuff about this coworker and other things that had happened, and people started jumping on the bandwagon. Oh yeah, well so-and-so did this, and oh yeah, well I can see that, and this person's not in the room to defend themselves at all. And the interesting part is that this person that began this entire conversation and all this gossip and this triangulation and this alienation and this villainization was basically painting this person black because of their own reasons. And so they wanted to gang up and get everybody on their side, so it's okay to treat that person very poorly. Being painted black can happen to anybody. It can happen, your mother or father can paint you black. You can be the son or a daughter of somebody and not even realize, and all of a sudden, whatever you do is not good enough. In a relationship, and this happens often in relationships, where you can be the most best person in the world doing the most amazing things for this. Oh, thank you so much for supporting the family, or thank you so much for doing this. And the next day, you're shit. The next day, there's nothing you can do that's right. Everything you're doing is wrong, or you're lying about everything, or you're cheating about everything. You're just a bad person all around. And it can be hard, especially going in the ups and downs, because what happens a lot of times when we're painted black is there's another side, right, of the coin. So in order to be painted black and to be brought down to this like horrible place, we had to have been somewhere higher to begin with. And so when you think about the concept, and I've talked about this in other videos, and we can put some of the links here, about the pedestal phase, right? In a pedestal phase, we're held up above others. We're that person's favorite person. We can do no wrong. Okay, so what I'm saying here is we got to be careful, because the only way that we're painted black is if we were on the pedestal at some point. Because what's the point of painting somebody black that's mediocre, right? What's the point of painting someone black that's just okay? I mean, there's no reason to try to bring them into the depths of hell, but you bring somebody into the depths of hell based on how high you held them. Okay, so think about that. And that's what's really hard in a lot of relationships nowadays, is that many of you are in these types of tumultuous relationships where you might have a couple of weeks on and a couple of weeks off. Like, things could be good for a few weeks, and then all of a sudden you've been painted black again. There's no communication, complete silent treatment, not speaking to you, putting you down, making fun of you, and then somehow or not there's an uptick and everything's okay again. The interesting part, though, that I found is that can continue for a while, but over time what I have seen is that it gets to a point where you're painted black for a longer period of time, and then the uptick is for a lot shorter period of time. And I believe that the uptick is actually shorter because it's almost like the reality sets in to some degree where that person starts. It's not about how much they love you, it's their fear of abandonment that has that uptick. And so what I mean by that is that when you're put on the pedestal, it's not because they're actually thinking how great you are. There's actually that fear of losing that relationship. And so out of fear, they put you back on. And then when that fear of abandonment is gone for a moment because you're taking care of them, you're catering to them, you're doing whatever, you're thrown back off, painted black again very quickly. And so what I've realized is that in the painted black state, when I dealt with it, it was very hard because I wanted to fight it. I didn't understand what was going on. I didn't have anybody to talk to explain to me what was really happening to me. It just seemed like a whirlwind of things changed, and I was trying to understand what I had done to be put in the space. And so think about it. If you're dealing with right now, if you're in a relationship where you're constantly being painted black, how does that affect you mentally, emotionally, and spiritually? And I know that some of you will say, no, it doesn't affect me at all. Well, I find that very hard to believe, because when people treat us like this, it's very hard not to start taking it personally. It's also very hard not to take the criticism very personally and the name calling, as well as the other people that are collaborating with that person that is kind of the ringleader of the villainization. And if you're married to someone that's doing this, this can be very challenging. If you are the daughter or son to a parent that's doing this, it can be overwhelming, because remember, the parent is supposed to be there for us. The parent is supposed to be a solid rock that's there to be there, that's there to protect us. And so when our parent is doing the opposite of protection, that's a pretty painful place to be. And so all these situations when being painted black is critical to see that it's happening. And it takes you to be super mindful, because I remember when it first started happening to me with this one particular person, I gave them, I basically gave them all these get out of jail free cards. I just kept giving them excuse after excuse for what they were doing. And I wasn't really putting piece by piece together and seeing what was really happening. And it's a lot easier to understand better the situation when you actually have a name for it. So the concept of being painted black is very important to understand, because once we're able to say, okay, wait a second, this person's avoiding me, I'm getting the silent treatment, now I'm finding out that there's gossiping about me, maybe they're turning or trying to turn other people against me, now I realize what's happening. And when somebody is painting you black, I don't know necessarily if they always know. Now, I think that some people do know exactly what they're doing. I think that some people would argue with you and say that they don't or don't remember. And there might be some people that actually just don't really know the programming that they're going down to create this painted black. So again, you can go back and reach out to that person, but usually what I've found is that that's eventually going to go away. But when we cater to the painted black, that's when we get even more grief. So when we cater to them, please tell me what I've done, that sort of thing. Oh, tell me what I've done. Let me change whatever I can do, whatever that is. When we start doing that, that's when we get more and more pain and suffering. So I've realized that when you're painted black, realize what's happening, be aware of it, feel your feelings, connect with yourself, and don't play into or give into that. Taking a break and taking a step back can be it can be very good, it can be very challenging, because many of us are programmed in that codependent programming to ask what we've done wrong. I can change what that is. Please talk to me. When in reality, when someone's giving us the silent treatment or doing that type of, or giving us that type of attitude or doing those types of things to us, we do not want to give in to them mentally, emotionally, energetically, anything, because we're giving them exactly what they want. I hope this video has helped you understand what it means to be painted black. And if you haven't really thought about the pedestal stage, we're going to have some of those links in the description below about the pedestal stage and what that means, because, you know, when we're thrown off the pedestal and we're painted black, it can be very painful. And then understanding how to deal with the painted black stage, because the last thing we want to do is to give into that, because the more we give into it, the more we're giving them exactly what they want, the more that they'll keep doing what they're doing. In the comments section, let me know, have you been painted black recently? You know, how did you deal with it? You know, did you confront them, or did you decide to take some emotional distance? Because I think a lot of times it's hard not to confront, and so I'm interested, if you did confront them, how did it turn out? If you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel. It lets us know that we're doing something right here, and give us a like on this video if it's helped you and helped your well-being or understanding of the concept of being painted black. And don't forget to live your true life.